Hello everyone, this is meditation coach Leo, and thank you so much for viewing my channel. Today I wanted to go over the following topic. I wanted to talk to you about, and I've mentioned this in my previous videos, but it's about how to well manage your energy. Remember, we as human beings, every time we act, but also when we think and feel a certain type of emotions, we utilize a lot of stored energy within us. So it's really crucial that we know how to manage our limited energy throughout our body, because we take advantage of the energy. We think that it's unlimited, but you have to remember that it's not only the time that when you're physically doing something you're using energy, but when you're thinking, feeling, you're also using up a lot of energy that's stored in your body. So I wanted to tie this topic with the following book. It's a very popular book, well known, globally renowned book by the name of Reality Transurfing. It's written by a Russian quantum physicist, Zilin, and there are a few things that I wanted to kind of elaborate on from his book that ties with the importance of how we should really be careful of how to manage and use up our energy that is limited. So think of it this way. Let me give you one scenario. For example, let's say we're playing a game and you have the privilege to actually build a nation, okay? So what do a nation need? What does it need? Obviously, it needs houses. It needs education facilities like schools and universities and institutes, so on and so forth. You also need to build hospitals, medical centers. You also need to create parks. And you also need to create shops and shopping malls and stuff like that, right? Now, and you also need something for national defense, so you might need to have a strong, mighty military branches as well. But let's say the way you're governing this nation is that you are putting too much energy or resource into one particular area. Let's say that's military. So you're spending all of your budget, or the money to run the country is all being used and being channeled to the military strengthening. So the money doesn't actually go to other parts of the facilities that needs to be developed. So what you're going to see there is obviously a imbalance, right? So when there's no balance, when the balance collapses, the entire system or the ecosystem melts down. It's obviously very common sense, and it's kind of like a rule. It's kind of like a nature's rule, right? So speaking of nature's rule or universal law, from the book Reality Transurfing, the author introduces a concept known as this balance field. Okay, so for example, in the universe or in this world, there are invisible forces that constantly adjusts or somehow calibrates the balance between the yin and yang, so to speak. So yin and yang is a principle that where there's an equal balance so that the system does not collapse, right? So for example, if there's a hot weather, there's cold weather. If there's summer, there's winter. If there's daylight, there's nighttime. There's sun and the moon, and also from the emotional standpoint, you could have love and anger or hatred. You could have all these things, right? So there's extreme things kind of situated at the end of each spectrum, so to speak. So the universal force is constantly looking out to see if there are imbalances, right? And the way that the author of Reality Transurfing describes is that each time you put an excessive amount of importance or energy, and that is really energy, because when you think something is important, you're using your mental energy to constantly to put that on the pedestal and make sure that you monitor it, right? So if you do that, then there's the other flip side of the token where things can get really bad. So, if you are attached to something, if you think something is so important, you're afraid of losing that. You're afraid of, ruining that something, whether that's a person or an object, or, it's relationship, whether it's wealth, whatever it may be. The more emphasis you put in, you're depleting your energy that way, and the universal laws is gonna correct you. Basically, it's gonna realign you to how the world should be. So, for example, let's say I have this ruler here, and if I drop this ruler from where it is now, when it gets in touch with the floor, there's a chance that it might crack or be damaged because of the gravity. But if I put this on the desk, there is no gravity because there's no altitude involved. So it's in a safe and sound. So in a way, this universal law that the author talks about works kind of like a gravity, where if you put too much of importance in something, there's a possibility of that being damaged or being taken away. So the lesson here is to make sure that you don't put excessive potential energy on something, whether, like I said before, whether it's a person, relationship, or an object, or your reputation, whatever it may be. Overdoing it is not going to serve you anyway. So that is really the bottom line of the author's message here. So it's kind of like, if you really think about it, think about where strong emotions derive from. How do you feel strong emotions? For example, let's talk about some of the negative strong emotions: nervousness, jealousy, hatred, envy, and all of that. It usually comes most of the time from 3 different sources, and those are excessive expectation, excessive attachment, as well as having surplus amount of importance and meaning towards something. So when your energy is being directed and focused on those 3 things, it's only natural that you're going to create this strong emotion, right? And in this scenario, it's negative. So this is going to really become counterproductive on your behalf. So the lesson again from the author's standpoint is, don't put too much attention to one thing, and especially if you have a problem that you think, or a dilemma. The more you focus on that problem, and you're secreting stress hormones because you're worrying constantly, it's not going to help at all. Instead, if you remove the meaning, at least by a little bit, or the importance of it, then you are actually removing some of the pressure, the invisible pressure that you have on your shoulders, because you're carrying all that weight as you're living your life. So in order to alleviate that tension, that pressure, is to remove the meaning and the importance from whatever you're focusing on, whether it be good or bad. So that is the concept of the excessive potential energy that the author talks about. So in order to better manage your energy so that you can become more productive and you can get one step closer to your goals, personal development goals, is to not to be so aggressive and put too much meaning and importance on certain things, whether it be good or bad, because the universal law is going to come and try to balance that out. So when you see an obstacle, don't concentrate or put all of your energy and effort in order to climb over that wall or the obstacle, but just remove the attention from it, the importance and the meaning, and you can just let it slide by you, and you don't have to confront it, because confronting something always requires your energy, and that's not the way that you should go about it in spending your energy like that. So, oh, and also the author also talks about the best, really, the best way to really get rid of this excessive potential energy is to not only remove the significant amount of importance and meaning that you put into something, but just take things lightly and have a great sense of humor. You know, when things don't work out the way that you want, or when obstacles arise, don't consider it as if the sky is falling on behalf of your eyes, but just go with it, flow with it, roll with it, and just take it lightly as if it's a joke, right? Because if you do that, then you're not putting so much energy or your importance or the meaning to that problem. So that way, you can just shake it off and concentrate on what you do need to concentrate on. So just remember that, you know, that you have the choice to make that selection. Every time you are faced with something that may look like an obstacle, don't put too much attention, don't put too much meaning and importance to it, because the more you do, it's going to become a snowball effect. So I hope that you know, you were able to kind of introspect about the way that you go about in handling your own energy. And if you think that you are perhaps being a little bit paranoid when you're encountering some kind of an issue or problem, don't put too much meaning or importance to it. Try to kind of lessen those things and to see if you might be able to experience a more positive outcome. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that like button, and also please subscribe. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Talk to you later. Bye.